He got off the phone quick.
Yo, he had to be like in his 90s. His mind was like abort. When they started asking him questions about the school, it's like, yeah, that's tragic. Anyway, I gotta go.
We're just gonna start this shit live.
The only time I caught the Holy Ghost was when I was in church drinking.
Like, they're two dumb dudes. Welcome to the latest episode of Sarat and Chris's Movie Therapy Podcast. Well, I mean, what, you don't like? Are you one of those distinct, like, oh, this rapper only speaks to one borough kind of thing?
No, I just found it funny that two best friends after like what 30 years, 3 decades or something.
Yeah,
they're having beef over which person originated where. Like, it's like Jim Jones said something, and it's like, man, half of this shit can be handled with a phone call. But because, we live in a podcast, social media age, it's like somebody says something, the person will talk shit about them on their own media outlet. It's like, it's funny as hell.
I thought it started from just Cameron or 50 and Cameron telling the story, and Jim got kind of his feelings about it, and it went from there.
I heard,
but
I heard Jim Jones is mad because he didn't get invited to get cheeks. So
that could be it.
You don't get invited to the party. You're like, oh, come on, how come everybody got cheeks but me?
Speaking of cheeks, today's movie.
No, this movie. Listen, bro. Listen. Okay, before we get into that, welcome to the latest episode of Sarat and Chris's Movie Therapy Podcast. It's your boy Sarat, aka Makazi.
Your boy Chris Brown, aka Red 4 Delta.
Your boy Marcos, aka at the Sunset Kid. I'm just not going to talk with a very deep voice.
Well, yeah. You were trying to put that Barry White in, but like you always talking low and slow, like bro.
Whoa. First of all,
listen. I have to always listen. When I edit, I always bump up your mic. That's all I'm saying. That's always bump. And so I'm just saying, maybe you get yelled at by the wife if you talk too loud.
Hold on. Like, is it that you want me to like deep throat the mic? Pause. I'm not trying to do all that.
No. First of all, I'm just saying we need good clarity, and you just out here like, this is Soul Drain.
Listen, I don't just because I don't have the McDonald's headset the way Chris has, which actually is a pretty good mic. I have been hearing our last couple episodes, and you come out clear.
Yeah,
I've always came out clear.
I know you're the one that's all muffled, like you chewing on walnuts.
Again, I'm gonna start talking Monterey like Jack. This. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Bro, you Monterey Jack from Chippendale's Rescue Ranger.
Yo, is this a third reference of Chippendale's Rescue Ranger on this podcast? And like,
I'm saying, it's accurate. Look at you, bro. If Chippendales is made in Puerto Rico,
First of all, for the listeners out there, I am not Puerto Rican. I am Dominican. But it's all good. I didn't expect a Cambodian person that looks Vietnamese, that looks
if you think I look Vietnamese, but I look more Mexican and Puerto Rican before I look Vietnamese.
You look like your name is like Jin Garcia.
Let me put some braids in, then you can really say that.
That's actually funny, Jin Garcia.
No. Okay, well, speaking of weird names, this movie, so when I picked this movie, I thought it had something to do with like tropical, air. Who
are you telling?
Agriculture. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
When it came on my radar, but then I read the description and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a nice delve into reality for you two. I don't know how ready for you are, how ready for it that y'all were, because Chris loves his cartoons, Marcos loves whatever's edible. I don't know.
Whatever's edible. I love action movies, bro. I don't know.
Man.
First of all, when the title of this movie is very deceiving.
Yeah, it definitely is. Sugarcane.
Sugarcane.
But that's the name of the reservation.
I found that out after like 20 minutes into the movie, after like just being like, oh my God, this is a dick punch of a movie documentary. It's
he was like, Marco was talking to his wife, honey, Sarat picked this movie. I ain't seen Sugar yet. What's going on?
First of all, I don't know, when we discussed this in person, I was a couple drinks in. So I could have sworn you said this was like something about indigenous people and cultivating coffee. Literally, I don't know why I thought this was it, but then I watched it and I was like, what?
Chris, did you catch cultivating coffee in any part of the
Unless you
description?
two had had an actual conversation, all I did was see the text. When I saw the movie screen or whatever, I was like, all right, cool. And I just went from there.
Yeah,
I saw National Geographic Sugarcane and left it at that.
yeah.
I
I
didn't
mean,
actually look deep into it, so I couldn't find the shit.
yeah.
So
Chris couldn't find it until this morning. You had to watch it on my profile because he couldn't find it.
Mine's rated for cartoons.
you got a child's profile.
Yeah, I guess so, man.
I think I gotta switch it over. But I mean, I'm saying, I listen. It's been a while since we covered a documentary, and this is the first time we've ever done one with you, Marcos. So I'm actually curious to see, what you guys thought of this movie. Again, the movie is called Sugarcane. It's a documentary on National Geographic, which is on Disney Plus. But yeah, like I think there's gonna be two distinct aspects of this movie, and correct me if I'm wrong. One is how you feel about the story being told, and the information there. And then two, how you feel about like the movie, whether you were entertained enough to like keep watching it.
Hmm.
So I'm curious.
When it's a
Chris, no,
documentary.
what, Marcos? Yeah, this is your first documentary with us. So tell me, what you think of this movie?
Oh, hold on. I gotta.
Bro,
I'm
you
All
pouring,
right. So
I'm pouring my cheek juice so we talk.
I'll grab my
so
cheek,
this
my cheek
movie,
juice too.
this movie is talk about a dick punch of a documentary. Like I love documentary about individuals that are marginalized because that means that their story is getting out there.
Yep.
But that from the first text that they show in the documentary, they were like Canada in 1894 started creating these schools to basically deal with the Indian problem. I was just like,
Yep.
shit, here we
And
go.
they said, yeah, basically just to get
And they didn't
them
even say Native American. It was like to deal with the Indian problem. And it's like, what the
but
bloody hell?
that's an aspect of North American history that kind of gets glossed over. We ain't got no
Like,
month for for Indian heritage, right?
yeah, like, bro, there's so many things. Like, it's crazy because I have a whole list that I left upstairs of I took serious notes, but I can remember most of them here.
Yeah.
First of all,
Hold on, before you get into the details, Chris, what did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I like documentaries.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, they're real or they're supposed to be.
when you say
Um,
like it, you like the subject matter. You didn't like what was happening to these people, right?
Oh no,
Just
not at
making,
all. I mean, I just
making sure.
like my top like movie choices when it comes to picking something. Like Spot said, I love my animation, but I love documentaries just because that it's real. It's not somebody's imagination on film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm always down for a real story. Now, of course, I didn't like what was going on and everything. I mean, I'm like 1/32 of Indian somewhere in my system. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's just the
But
fingernails. His fingernails is yellow.
Well,
nah, it's in my man parts. That's what it would love me. It's
You black
just
you black everywhere but the member.
that's my soaring eagle.
wow.
That's a spinning lizard.
That is that is a very unique description of your manhood there, sir.
Oh man.
I liked the movie for the subject matter that it was bringing about, because I think it's a subject matter that's just not really talked about a lot. Like we said, indigenous culture in America, it's just something that's lost. It's been kind of pretty much wiped out. You figure there's Native American tribes from Upper Canada down to like in Mexico and shit like that, and when you think about it, you don't really. You think about the tribes separately, Navajo, Comanche, Iroquois, but when you think about that, like those are just a giant group of like people that lived here on this land before Western people got here, and they've pretty much just been like relegated to casinos and reservations, like
The crazy thing about it was when Ed and his son Julian were like driving through Canada and they're vocalizing and singing, and then they start like ad-libbing and they were like, Canada, this land is
it's
all
Indian
our
land.
land. They took it from us. And I was like, wow, this is horrible.
Yeah.
And
I'll let you go talk about the part where they start quoting Eminem. I think that's the only reason I picked this
oh,
movie.
he's like, mom's
Mom spaghetti.
That's
Oh,
the
that was
only
a
reason to
random
start picking
place
this
for
shit.
that reference.
Those
No,
knees are weak, his palms are sweaty. You know what I'm saying?
First
yeah,
of
like
all,
so. I mean, the idea that like we have a whole civilization within this country that pretty much just gets skated over is really that's I don't know that's interesting to me. I don't know, maybe when it comes to the actual structure of the movie, maybe they could have told a much more well-rounded movie, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I didn't feel like there was a problem and resolution kind of thing, or like if they asked a question in the beginning and then you had an answer at the end. I kind of feel like it was just like everything was kind of in the middle, as in what happened to these kids.
Yeah, it was more like a story of like telling what happened, but of course, no, like you said, the resolution.
Yeah,
Just if I remember correctly, the main person in the movie, the young kid, what they call him, noise cat or something like
I don't know. Well, yeah, Noise Cat. What was his name?
which
Marcos, you
one?
took notes.
The
the main
Willie,
character.
Willie, Willie.
oh, you talking about the bald guy or Julian? His dad?
Julian's the dude with the long hair, and his
Julian,
dad.
his dad is Ed.
And, yeah, and then there's the other dude that was like first chief.
First chief, that's Rick. Um, that RIP, like they just like at the end they were like, in case you weren't already sad, this motherfucker died.
He's the one that had to go to the Vatican, right?
Yeah,
No,
well,
no, but I'm
he
talking about
didn't
there was the
have.
younger dude, the dude that did the dance and thought he didn't get first place.
Yeah, his call sign or whatever, his
The
noise
one
cat.
that he had the two kids and he was fishing with the net. That dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Willie.
Yeah, Wood.
He
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
young. I think his kids look like to be half Caucasian or they just really fair skinned. They didn't
Yeah.
show his significant other,
Well, I
but
mean, not like again, like so the big story here is again, the Catholic Church had opened up a lot of schools, presumably to help spread the word of the gospel,
but
and so
let's
wait, but then in doing so, you kind of they had this what do they call them, residential schools?
yeah, that's what they
Yeah,
called them.
Yeah. And they sent a
Uh,
lot of kids to there, and then a lot of abuse and a lot of atrocities happened there that kind of just got pushed off to the side.
But if we rewind back, what was the purpose of these schools? There was again, the opening graphic of these schools first started to pop up in 1894, and then at the end they said it was only about 148 in Canada and
Yeah, and then
about 400
408 in America.
in the U.S.
hmm
and they were both federally funded by both countries with an association. And the reason that the Catholic uh, Church was involved was because um, they honestly were the only ones still doing like orphanages and schools at that time.
Yeah.
But also the priest that later on Rick was talking to in the Vatican, uh,
hmm
the guy named they credit him as Louis Lumen.
Yeah.
He basically said that it wasn't until like late 80s that the Catholic Church was like starting to listen to psychology. It's like, oh yeah, there are crazy people. We should
Yeah.
probably remove them from the kids. So you got to think about there were all sorts of deviants dealing with these kids, and I would imagine that these posts were not posts that people wanted to be at
No.
because
No,
most
no.
of
They
those
want to be
schools,
in the church in the middle of Madison Square Garden or in New
yeah,
York. They
those
ain't going
they
to.
were in the thick. Like I don't know if you noticed, like they were just out there. Like the kids died trying to get away because there was really no civilization.
No, they died because they was getting pregnant.
Yeah, pretty much. Same.
Yeah, but you heard him talk about those three boys that were like between the ages of 6 and 10 that they ran off and they froze to death overnight because there
Yeah,
was
they're trying to
really
escape.
nowhere to go.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, but like, so what was the reason for these schools? Was it to just, kind of control the Indian population, as in like, a measure of like, hey, like, we're gonna assimilate them into Western culture?
So expanding on what the information they provided us and what because the individuals that they introduced to the audience, they were just trying to find out what was happening. The why that we got was that it was to deal with the Indian problem, which means that what do we do as the U.S. We go into other people's countries,
Western
we try,
culture,
yeah,
less U.S. Western, just Western culture in general, because they
Western
happen to.
culture, we go into the unknown and try to quote unquote civilize
Yeah.
the natives by introducing them to our laws, to our culture, our religion. So basically, that was it. So because they were trying to make it easier for the people that were coming into the country to be quote unquote safe and not scared, because they were just trying to quote unquote, their words, civilize or tame or control
Yeah.
the
That's the main word.
population.
Yeah.
You
Let me.
know,
Okay, so
and
they use a specific word in here when they refer to the Native Americans. That's savages. Savages over there. Now, in all honesty, who's more savage? The people living on the land, working with nature, or the people coming in there bum rushing them and trying to take over shit? Right?
Come on, that's been a conversation since the beginning of time. The people come to bum rush. Like
Yeah.
Indian people have always lived off the land. They follow the stars. They listen to the wind. Like they went and jumped in the river. You know what I'm saying in the documentary.
Yeah.
Like I actually love that. I love nature. I won't be up there all the
first of
time with it.
all,
That's why
I
you live in nature.
I mean, but
I don't
yeah,
know
it
if you
talks to you.
Yeah.
you probably could tell, Chris, and well, Sarat, you're actual, from what you're telling me, very outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Where they were at, it was fucking cold. I can imagine the way
Oh, yeah, it's
that
Canada.
It's
wind.
Canada, bro. It's BC. You get negative 40 out there, bro.
And they were out there with shorts
Ain't
and
no
everything.
Sherlin jackets.
First of all, can we talk about Ed? I apologize because when I saw him, I was like, here we go, a deadbeat dad or whatever. But this guy was doing the best that he could, and he was the nicest guy for all the stuff that he came with. And then I felt so bad when he reunited with another survivor, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I remember you. You were the trash can
Yeah,
kid."
you,
And I
you
was
the
like,
garbage
Damn.
baby. That's what we
And yo,
called you,
did
the
you
garbage baby.
did you see his face? He was just like, it was like all those emotions that he probably blocked from years of just like compartmentalizing was like, oh, okay, thanks,
Yeah.
guy. Like,
Have you guys ever had like moments in your life? And you don't have to really go into detail, but moments in your life where you felt like you may have blocked some shit out.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it's not even like, if you take it to smaller things. You ever had a conversation with somebody that you were sharing something that was very intimate,
Mm-hmm.
and then later on they use it in a very casual way to like remind you, like, then you're like, motherfucker,
Yeah, Sarat's the king of that shit.
But listen,
well, no, but be
I bet
I'm not,
Sarat's got the rehab. He'd be like, what?
but
I got
you
this drink
guys,
called rehab, Chris.
you guys have like
You want a
that,
drink for rehab?
but you guys are friends. You guys have that history, but like,
no, here's the thing. If we're talking about blocking stuff out, I think I've forgotten as many times as I've just like blown up Chris's spot for no goddamn reason other than, hey man, yo, you you really talked yourself out of that one, Chris.
like,
But
it's
fuck
like
you. You don't want to try to fucking set me up when I was at your house with your
Look.
boy. God damn it.
listen,
Oh,
I've
I
been
ain't trying to set you up.
Yeah,
I've
you
been
motherfucker.
I just wasn't gonna stop it.
I've been in situations where I've shared personal information to like friends of mine, and then I immediately regret doing that because they'll be like, "Oh man, that one time we," and I'm like, "What the fuck does this have to do with us like doing something mad basic?"
Bro, I remember the first time that ever happened to me, and it's a very, I don't want to call it a traumatic memory, but it's something that just ingrained in me. When I was in second grade, there was some girl in the class I thought was cute, so I told one of my friends, and then something happened. I forget, and like he was like people were coming down on him for some shit. He was just like, well, Surratt likes Elizabeth, and I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Or like it's always that one like, I don't know, man. I think as human beings, and this is ain't no knock at Sarad or anybody, Chris. I just think as human beings, we like to do what is called the magician when it comes to like embarrassment or emotions. We like to be like, look over here, like like
Oh no, that's not what I'm doing. I'm literally like, hey, Chris, I'm about to put this spotlight on you for no goddamn reason, and just to see you squirm.
No, I mean, now that I'm older, like throw whatever you want to throw at me, because most of the time I'm gonna roll with it. Because 9 times out of 10, I gotta come back. It's very few you get me to shut up, and I gotta get you like, you know what? That was a good one. You know what I'm saying? I just gotta go with it because I'm gonna do it back. But like being young and everything, like I know kids do that a lot. They're about to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, why'd you do your homework? Well, she didn't do the dishes. I hope I heard of dishes right now. I'm talking to you in your homework. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just let me take the eye off me, so that I could try to escape. But no, but in this movie, like, okay, so we had this school where there was a lot of like atrocities going on. Again, like you guys talked about, there was, you know, kids being abused, a lot of kids getting pregnant, and then, you know, the babies going missing. So the big thing was on this, behind this orphanage or regional school, there was 57 there was like 100 and some odd graves, and only 57 of them were accounted for as actual graves. So that means there was like all these different bodies hidden back there, and they had no record of who these people were. There was, you know, missing babies and missing kids. Like, just they would talk about, like, you know, you were one of the ones, like, some of the kids didn't never made it home. You know,
I thought that was fucked up. Like, I think people stay alive for a certain reason. Like homeboy that was burying the garbage. How did he make it into the documentary? Like, out of all people, he was just I was back to burying garbage, not knowing he's burying bodies.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of it. This entire documentary was very close to the people that were victimized,
yeah.
but to the people that were being called out, they, like, I don't know if it is because they finally got this greenlit so many years. Like, yeah, the shit that irritated me, I grew up Catholic, and that's the last known, you know, organized religion that I recognize, and to like see Rick go to the Vatican, have this ceremony with Pope Francis,
Yep.
and then it was like the whole apology, or it wasn't even an apology. It was like, hey man, I'm sorry that things happened in that place that might have hurt your feelings, and you know, let's just all heal and move on, man. Pray for me too, baby. And then the news article later was like, yo, did they apologize? Did they acknowledge anything? Did they
You
give
getting any
you
money?
anything?
Yeah.
And then the guy, and then I couldn't tell because he was watching on his phone. Was that him that was being interviewed, or was that somebody else?
No, that was him. I think he was just doing the interview on his phone. Remember, if I could set it up real quick on the books.
Oh, okay. No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when Rick, the guy that was in the Vatican, was he looking at Willie's interview from earlier, or was he looking at somebody else on CNN?
I don't remember. I remember the one they were looking at Justin Trudeau.
I'm talking about when they were on the phone, when he was on the phone, like right after the Pope was like, hey man, pray for you, God bless, later. And then he walked out, and then they showed him on the bus leaving the Vatican, and he was like, they were playing a clip from CNN where the guy was like, so what happened? Did they apologize? Did they acknowledge? And the guy was like, nah. They kind of just...
I must have missed that.
I thought he was talking to someone on the phone, and someone was asking him.
No, he was looking at a CNN clip of somebody that apparently got interviewed after it happened.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, God damn. It's like if somebody messed up like at your job, and they bring you in and be like, hey man, we just want to make sure you good, and be like, oh man, you know, like, what are you guys gonna do to fix this? And then your job is like, what do you mean? We just checking in on you, baby. Like, we just want to make sure that you good, man. And if you're having a bad time, we want to apologize for you having a bad time. It's like, nah, I gotta harass that work. It's like, whoa. We're not putting labels on this, baby. Like,
they just making sure they getting sued. We just checking on you. You gonna sue? Cool.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Then,
okay, so I mean, how would you guys react if you guys were in a situation where, you know, again, there's some shit going on, atrocities, and atrocities is a strong word, because you're not just getting, you know, ain't nobody just kicking you in the ass and giving you a wedgie. Like, this is some shit that's gonna like fuck you up for the rest of your life. Like, again, there was people sitting there like they couldn't
talk about it. Yeah.
Like, the lady said she became a fucking alcoholic at 10 years old right after the shit, because no one fucking listened to her. She told this person. Finally got to her dad. Her dad whooped the ass.
The other girl said she became that's why she couldn't walk. She got the strap, and that's why she's in the wheelchair.
Yeah, Cecilia.
And so like, okay, so
bad.
if something like that is happening in and around you, like, you know, and it seems like it's all getting just pushed under the rug, like, how do y'all react to that? Do you just sit there and do you decide like, you know, just the world is fucked up, I just have to just take it and go, or do you fight?
I think there's two types of way you're gonna go. People are gonna go about that. I'm not saying you, but I think one type of person is gonna either accept it and find something to crowd that pain, drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever,
Yeah.
Whatever, because 9 out of 10, you don't find something positive. That's what
Yeah.
comes to later. Like, so people will find hiking, but how few are those people? You know what I'm saying? And then the other people be like, you know what? Fuck this, and they turn into that. I guess you want to call serial killer, whatever the case may be. Like I'm trying to hurt all people that look like people that hurt me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't think there's ever a middle ground until they get older. 9 times out of 10, they don't make it to older,
Yeah.
in my
Well,
opinion.
I think when it comes, like, unfortunately, we're the generation that dealt with the individuals that had so much trauma that they either, one, don't acknowledge or talk about it,
Yep.
two, end up with a crazy coping mechanism. Like, my dad was an alcoholic. He wasn't one of those alcoholics that was out there, like, beating my mom or anything like that, but he was like a dude that'll work 12 hours a day, come home and like drink like every single night. I don't remember him not drinking. He wasn't drinking himself to sleep, but it's like the fact that he drank every night. Like, bro, I drink like when I go on trips or something like that. Like at home, I rarely drink.
Yeah.
Like rarely drink. And then it's like, my wife's parents, completely different socioeconomic. Her parents have drinks every single day as part of, and it's just like, yo, that's crazy. Like every day you just want to have a drink. And it's not even, it's like, that's just the coping mechanisms that they get better as time goes on. Like Chris says, but unfortunately, when you're in a lose-lose situation like those that population was in, and this goes on in all parts of the world, all you got to do is either, like, to quote state property, you either got to lay down and get down and lay down. Like, there's no real option, because as you saw, those kids tried to get help, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, yo, that's crazy. The dad beat her. It was like, oh, it's your fault. Like stop walking around like showing your ass to the
You
to
know how
the
many
priest or
you know how many
something.
times I heard that, like from girls that I've known growing up or in my life that I met, and be like, yeah, like something happened, and they like their parents or their dad and mom took it out on them,
Yeah.
and now that I'm older, I don't understand that logic. Like
Well,
why?
I think
Because they're like,
because
you're making waves.
yeah, well, I think generationally, I think there's a generation that goes, we hold ourselves a certain way. And if we hold ourselves this way, nothing bad should happen. So if something bad happened to you, in their mind, you did something that you were holding yourself up in a way that you shouldn't be doing it. I.e., you wearing a short skirt, you doing some shit, you flirting with the wrong guy, like you're asking for it kind of thing, which is completely wrong. Some people are just fucked up. They're preying on kids. You got a fucking these principals who are put in charge of all these kids, and they're just preying on them. And then, all of a sudden, oh, so they're pregnant. Let me just send them to Vancouver to go have this baby. And then all of a sudden the baby disappears.
And then
They
they
said
had a
the lady
charity
walked by.
involved.
The lady walked by and the fucking incinerator, whatever, just saw a shoebox and the shoebox was open. There was a baby inside. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
That, to me, that had me punching in the air in anger. Like there was like the
what you was
fact.
menace to society?
Yeah, that's a lot of energy for him to punch in the air, bro.
Like Steve-O, he's like he walked outside, punched all the kids.
No. it's like
Both of them.
man, it was
Both
real
of them.
shitty. it was real shitty. Like, and they got zero acknowledgement. Like, I believe it was Ed that said it, Julian's dad, that he was like, in Catholic Church, they were like, believe in confession.
Wait,
Or no,
real quick,
or no,
Chris,
it
can you
was
pull the mic down a little bit? Are you breathing like you just fucking got done fucking?
The weird.
you say that.
That's bad. That's a bad example to bring up since we're talking about
He could
kids
have been
having
like, he could have said like, yo,
abused.
you sound out of breath. Let's pull the
He
mic
could have
back.
sounded like a dragon or a bear or something. Nah.
No.
So
You are neither or.
when the guy, I forgot if it was either Ed or it was one of the later victims that they identified, when he was like, yeah, we used to go to confession and it'll be the same guy that you're confessing to that'll be dragging you out of bed later on. And
Yeah.
it's just like, yo, that is insane.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't imagine being a child in that kind of situation where you just feel doomed.
Yeah.
You're left
Yeah.
there for some reason. Every kid's brought there, and they put you in front of these people who are supposed to have your back. help you out with life and shit like that. And you saw some of the old archival footage that they had from the documentary where it shows like all these kids running around this guy like he fucking Willy Wonka.
Yeah, he opens his jacket, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
After knowing what he was doing, you're like, God damn.
Yeah.
First of all, when they called that brother Bobby or whatever the hell his name, the old white
No,
guy,
brother Dowdy. I remember he got off the phone quick.
he
I
had
can't
to
help
be
you.
like in his 90s. His mind was like abort. When they started asking him questions about the school, it's like, yeah, that's tragic. Anyway, I gotta go. And I ain't never heard somebody that was probably in their 90s have the quickest recollection like that.
For real.
Like, well, anyway,
I'll talk to you later. It was right. Yeah, I remember you. Yeah, it was real nice talking to you. Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Oh, that didn't happen when I was there. But I got to go now. I was like, damn.
like
He's not guilty at all. Nope, he's clear.
He's like, yo, but then like, have you like? I kept focusing on the little like string board that they had, and like the principal, man, I was like, that is an evil ass dude.
Yeah,
because like I don't remember they implicated him, but he has to know all that shit was happening.
Okay, so here's the thing. Remember the dude that went to the Vatican, right? They said they did like the DNA test, and all the people that were linked to him, they were all McGraths. They all had that same bloodline, and that was the principal. So like,
oh my god,
that was the principal's last name. So like, that's presumably his dad. But like, and like they said, because in that reservation, because they were you get pregnant by one of the white guys, and all of a sudden you're a mixed kid. Nobody wants you. So now you're stuck at this orphanage because nobody in the reservation wants you.
Which is insane. It's like, yo, that's not. How is that your fault? It's like we were talking about this. I was talking with somebody. It's just like, how in anime they're like, oh, like you're an Asian kid with yellow hair, like you're crazy. And I was like, oh man, they can't do that. But then I started reading up on it. Like, yo, there's certain parts of the world that if you don't look like everybody else, you're like, you're not
America.
Yeah, for real.
No, not even in America. I'm talking about like.
But I'm saying sometimes we act like it's this far off, thing that's happening, but it's right next door. There's shit like that happens on an everyday basis, and we act like when we see it on a movie or a documentary, we act like, God damn, I ain't never seen nothing like that. That's crazy. Like, motherfucker, go down to the bodega and just see if Manuel fucking looks at you like you Carlos. No, he's gonna look at you like, why are you doing in my store?
Yeah.
First of all, like it's funny. Like my mom was very fair skinned. My dad was like my exact complexion. But like my mom had brothers and sisters that were darker than her because my granddad was darker. But my grandmother was very, very fair skinned. So it was like people either come out.
Was she a daywalker?
Yeah,
daywalker.
She was exactly a daywalker.
Oh,
but
man.
but he was more like Wesley. Anyway, but like
jungle people like a motherfucker over there.
but like people would like treat the lighter skin. Like she was one of like 10 kids, her lighter skinned siblings better than they did her darker skinned siblings. And it's like,
why is that? Why do you think that is? I'm gonna ask you both that question.
It's colorism.
Because you're both mixed.
What it is.
Say again?
It's colorism. That's basically what it is. It's like you like, okay, for those that don't know about the Dominican Republic, the actual landmass in the water is shared with Haiti. So the Dominican Republic and Haiti share the same island. And there was always been bad blood because Haiti was always dominated, and Haiti's army would always invade the Dominican Republic. And the Dominican Republic were not saints as well, because when we were independent and Haiti was getting conquered, we were like, nah, you guys kept attacking us, we're not going to help you. And all this stuff. So culturally, if you were more dark skinned, you will be perceived as of Haitian heritage or descent, versus if you're more fair skinned, you're kind of like considered more Dominican, more Taino, which is like the Native Americans. Sorry, excuse me, the Indians or the indigenous people of Dominican Republic before the Europeans started mixing in with the blood and all that stuff. But yeah, and it was like it's something that's weird where it's like now I am considered lighter than then the more like people be like, oh, you must be American, or you're like your parents are more white because look at your skin. And I'm like, then other people were like, man, you mad light. And then
Yeah.
other people are like, man, you mad dark. It's like it's weird. But like but I've never seen it, at least in the modern times, because again, I was born in 81. I wasn't born in 1940s or something like that. I don't think they were just tossing kids in the street in a shoebox. First of all, that entire phrase, yeah, when I was walking by and the lid flew off a shoebox and there was a baby there. Like,
I mean, you'd be surprised. God working mysterious ways. You never know what you're gonna find.
Yeah, but Chris, all right. So Chris, what about you? Like, why do you think, you know, when you have like again, if you have siblings and you get the lighter skin one, the darker skin, why do you think the lighter skin one is treated differently, whether
In
whether
my,
good or bad?
in my opinion, and I'm not gonna use my siblings because you met quite a few of them. You know, we're
Mhm.
all different complexions. But my mom, out of her siblings, was the darkest one. The word on the street, nothing is confirmed, but nothing's denied either, that her dad was actually a different dude that was Dominican.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Um, but all her siblings used to crack on her because she was the darkest.
yeah,
And in my opinion, and this is just my own personal thoughts, I think it has to do with TV and the media and everything else. Now, granted, my mom was born in the '60s. You know what I'm saying? I was born in the '80s. Here we are in 2025. Now, what in the last 2 years have we started seeing shows and movies and commercials with black and white people versus
yeah,
just white people?
yeah,
So I feel like whether we wanted to believe it or not, as a people, in the back of your mind somewhere, you always thought white was better. The lighter
yeah,
you are, the better you'll be.
yeah.
You know
Okay,
what I'm
so yeah, so as a dark skinned Asian, because you don't see a lot of those around. Uh,
saying?
no, I think what it is be I think when you get family members who like say you got a bunch of dark family members and then you get one light skinned one, I think there's some resentment that goes towards the light skinned one, but I think there's a lot of from the siblings, but then I think there's a lot of like better treatment towards it because for some reason in my head, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like some people look at that as, oh, this is their chance at a better life. Like one of my kids has a chance to maybe go places I never got a chance to go. So I'm gonna foster that and like try to put them in a scenario where they can achieve and maybe help us get us somewhere because they're gonna have access to things that me being a darker person just didn't have access to in that day.
but that's crazy to me. To me, that I don't know,
I'm not
man.
saying it's right, but I honestly feel like
No, I've
again,
actually heard stories like that, so I know it's true.
yeah,
I
like
know it's
if you
true.
get
To,
if you get
but it's
if you get a
just,
poor family in the projects and you got everybody's dark and you get one light skinned kid, like there's a chance they look at that light skinned kid as, hey, you might be our golden ticket out of this place.
Hmm.
like
So make sure
you're
you
passing, quote unquote, passing for whatever dominant, like
well not necessarily
skin
passing, but
color.
it's and I hate to say it, but people are scared of what's different. And so that's kind of that bridge in between. You might have just an easier way in. And then if you can get in, you can lift us all up, hopefully.
Yeah,
That's what I think sometimes happens in families is they look at the light skinned kid as like not a meal ticket, but like their chance out of whatever scenario they're in.
should we watch the movie like that? What was it? The one with Anthony Hopkins.
Oh yeah, if I
Oh,
can oh goddamn, the one that was in Western Mass.
yeah,
The one where
but
Anthony Hopkins played a black dude.
yeah, you know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
what?
Yeah, no, it's a dope ass movie though. No, I really can't remember the name right now,
Yeah.
but the movie is dope.
Right.
But
Well, listen.
she says it though. She said you were the kid I was counting on because
Yeah.
he was the lighter one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was the dude from fucking from prison break,
Yeah,
not the older brother, but the younger one.
yeah, the one that wasn't in
Had on the
prison.
tattoos. Yeah,
Yeah, so he played the younger version of Anthony Hopkins,
Okay.
but in the movie, but their dad was the same dude that played what was it? Fucking
I know he's in the Five Heartbeats. He's actually the colonel or
in
general
the
in
Matrix.
Man of Steel.
Yeah, yeah. He's
Oh,
one
Um,
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the guy that ended up being
Martian Manhunter.
Martian Manhunt. I know
Yeah.
what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, oh, Anthony Hopkins just played a black dude.
But the movie was good though because when
It was
we,
very
we
good.
watched it, we was like, yo, we did not see that coming.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Yeah, in the movie, he
but
was pretty much hiding his Jewishness for a better chance at life.
Yeah.
kind of thing, and it was all it was about accepting who you are.
Yeah, because like his mom said in the movie, like she was counting on him because he was the lighter one of all the whole family. You know what I'm saying?
All
So
right, all right.
yeah.
So there's one storyline going in this movie that I found particularly interesting, and I want to see your guys' take. But it's the one between Julian and his dad Ed. So during the road trip, you come to find out that like Ed kind of abandoned Julian when
Hmm.
he was younger.
Yep.
And so they were doing this road trip to try to try to get closer, to try to get some answers about what their relationship or where it was. And Julian kind of felt, again, he felt abandoned, he felt left behind by his dad, and he was trying to figure out why, like why did it go that way? And then you come to learn that like Ed is just like, hey, like I was abandoned too. Like
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Or it's like, I don't
just what
even
I
know where I
know.
come from, dog. Like, at least you know where you come from and you know who I am. Like, I can't even talk to my dad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I felt like at first, Julian, he didn't really have animosity, but he was kind of like, holding him accountable.
Yeah.
He's like,
Hmm.
and then when he kept talking, I think, who was he talking to? His mom or something like that?
His aunt, I think it was his
His
aunt.
aunt, like he was like, yeah, like describing like, I'm gonna get to the bottom and like, you know what I mean? And then once that the dude pulled up, it's like, yeah, trash can kid. And then he was like, oh,
Yeah.
hey
He's like
man.
my
Hmm.
he's like my dad's been through some shit that like, you know, maybe I was him leaving spared me the
It's trauma.
ramifications of him dealing with that.
But it's also his dad gave me the vibe of somebody that had to do hard drugs to get through.
I wouldn't doubt it, man. Look at him.
Yeah,
He
he had
took.
he was wearing the parka with the short shorts.
No, yeah,
I
those
was
shorts were shorts.
I was like, yo, this man is out here, and
You look like
like
Post Malone.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay, like,
he
and
No, I
then
says,
mean, go ahead.
I say he said something during the road trip though that really stood out to me, and I'm gonna say it wrong, but he was like, I was running away. I just wanted to run away, but the funny thing is, was anybody even looking for me?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I was like,
when
damn.
he went into the
What did that
bush,
comment make you feel?
It's like because how many people run away from something? Whether they leave their family, they leave their home state, they try to leave themselves when they get stuck in alcohol and drugs, everything else like that.
Yeah.
But when you reverse it, like, yo, who's even looking for me?
Yeah.
If nobody's looking for you, where you running away from?
yeah,
Well, so
when
You know what I'm saying?
it's a question because like for some people they're running away because they feel like they're trying to, and this is just my opinion. I feel like some people are running away because they're trying to escape whatever trauma they feel is holding them back. But then there's part of them that goes, well, even if I escape this, like, does anybody really care? Am I really worth that? That people actually care that like whether I'm in and around their life, like I could just go into the woods and disappear and nobody would even know that I was around.
yeah,
Mm.
it's like that's the crazy thing is like if they would have made this like a dramatized movie or a movie that was like scripted,
Yep.
they would have been like, oh, every kid that tried to run, there was some dogs in after them. But it was kind of like the
You don't
government
need a
was
movie
like,
for that, bro. That was the fucking 1800s in the
no,
South.
but no, but
You never seen the Django?
And they were
no,
saying
but I'm
roots.
saying they would be like, oh man, we're gonna chase him down. But no, when he said he was like, yeah, there was one time like you were talking about, he was talking about running away from the school. He's like, I just ran into the bush, and then I realized nobody was. And the school was like, all right, we got another bed, like
Yeah.
or
Mm.
unfortunately, the principal might have been like, oh, fresh meat. I wanted to trade that one in. He already had him, I already tasted him, like you know what I mean,
That's
like,
gross.
Yeah, for real.
like but hey, that's probably what these guys taught.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy.
How
But
does, dude? How does? Okay, and I don't want to come down on the Catholic religion, but how does something that's got so much of those uh instances
Hmm.
connected to it still walk around like it's nothing?
well, here's my thing. I'm not caping for the Catholic religion. I am not. I do think it's very flawed, but I think any organization that's bigger
Yeah.
than they intended to be, things happen.
Mm.
So the Catholic or organized religion, as far as it's something that you could verify. And even the guy said in the movie, it was just like they just want. You know how hard it was for you to get people to give their life in service to the Catholic Church and not get a salary, not have all these rules, give up all these cardinal, pleasures or whatever.
They ain't giving them up.
So but they were on paper, they
Exactly.
were, and then they were kind of like, all right, it wasn't like Men in Black. They weren't out there looking for the best of the best with honors, just like infantry right now. They're the military. They take whoever they could take that could follow and pick up a gun. Like it is what it is. It's pretty much like, oh, you can recite this religion, you could not look crazy while you're up there. Cool. And then they got so big to the point that they didn't realize how to police themselves. So what did the guy, he even said it. And I believe until this day, that's still their number one practice, that if something happens in the Catholic Church, what they do is deny and make that person disappear, because they know that, once you one branch is poisoned or somebody perceives this to be a Catholic religion on its entirety, then their record will forever be tainted. And honestly, the fact that they did that actually, I think, expedited the belief system that people will be like, oh, the Catholic Church is the worst,
Yeah.
because it's like I'm pretty sure every other organized religion has the same fallacies that the Catholic Church has. You know what I
I don't
mean?
know. I feel like Catholics are a little different because this is just my 2 cents, and I'm not trying to bash any type of religion, or whatever. Because I just came out to my own realization that, look, just be a shitty ass person, whatever you believe in. But think about organized crime. The mafia is usually what? Italians, and they
Yeah.
all go to church on Sunday to repent about killing somebody the night before. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, in the church, if somebody did something wrong, we'll get rid of that guy. So I mean, it's all like organized crime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
It
if
had to
you
come from somewhere.
that's an entirely different thing. If you think about it, all religions do the same thing. Have you ever heard of any Christian pastors being excommunicated from their church?
Yeah.
Who said that
What's
one?
it,
There's
what's
Meg.
what's his what's his name? That died. Teddy Long, or what's his name? Eddie Long, something like that.
Teddy Long is a fucking referee, dog.
I was
You know,
about to
yeah.
say.
Nah,
And today we'll have a tag team match. These
Batista
balls.
and Rey Mysterio versus the Divas.
No,
no, what's his name? Bishop Eddie Long. He got in a
yeah,
whole bunch of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah,
I
but how
mean,
many years after the fact? Like there's still mega churches now that are as corrupt as the Catholic Church. I just think when you monetize something that people look at to get away from, uh to basically explain where the happiness is going to be. Think about how religion came about. Religion came about, if you go back to slavery, is what basically
I
kept
think it
the
came before
morale.
slavery, just so you know.
Huh?
I think
I know, but
religion
it's
came
like,
before slavery.
but
yeah, they use religion for the
Christianity,
slaves.
Oh.
yeah, Christianity helped the slaves get through that entire period because it gave them hope
Yep.
that there was something, a higher power. Judaism, even before the Holocaust, that Judaism gave them the power to overcome the atrocities that they dealt with. You know what I mean? People in rural America right now, the reason that they listen to these mega churches and all these areas like TD Jakes of the world and all that stuff is because they have to believe that if their treasure in the world is not happening right now, that there is another different existence that could come for them later on, or else you'll live a tragic life. Like,
Yeah.
think about it. We need something to believe in. That's
Yeah.
how we get by as individuals.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
the idea that there is something out there for you to believe in that can it's that can be your North Star is
Mhm.
very powerful. And the fact that, like, at a certain point in time it becomes monetized, yeah, that's
Mhm.
when you look at it, you're like, okay,
You,
you got to keep that money rolling in somehow.
you know what? I think that's why people believe in or fall into the traps they fall into when it comes to drugs and alcohol and whatever else that is their pleasure. Because the question of the day is always, how can I believe in something I don't see? When this bottle looking really damn good and it feels pretty damn good, you know what I'm saying?
Or
Yeah,
it's like think about it, and every religion, whatever, with the exception of, I guess, Buddhism, like, you know what I mean, and most Americanized
Buddhism.
religion.
They might have some of that stuff in Buddhism.
No, but I'm talking
Yeah,
about, at least I don't have to look at
vegetables, pot bellies.
I forgot what their actual official titles are, like brother something something.
Why are you pointing at me?
No,
I grew up in an
I'm not
Episcopalian church, bro.
This is not you.
Yeah, no, you pointing at me. I see.
like in Buddhism, you don't see a member of Buddhism like walking around with a brand new vehicle and a big ass house.
Yeah.
When you over there, they're screaming at you to give 10% of your salary. When you over here, you can't even pay your electricity. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that happens all the time.
Right.
Like,
Joel Osteen's church in fucking Houston is where the Houston Rockets used to play. That's his church.
that is insane
crazy
to me.
You get
Like,
20,000 people every Sunday, twice a day on Sunday. Come on.
and then Catholics are not spared from that because the Catholic Church will
Catholics
have
got
like
a whole ass city, Vatican City.
not even that, not even. But Vatican City existed before.
No, but I'm saying it's
Catholicism.
like, when you get to that point where you got your own city with its own laws, own police force,
Yeah.
own crackheads, like it's all
like I love the church that I grew up in because there was actual priests that cared about you, priests that looked like you. Like there was a Dominican priest, there was a Puerto Rican priest. It wasn't like
I
an
feel
old
like Dominican priests and Puerto Rican priests look the same.
no. Well, whatever. Just like the Asian priest.
The same example.
I used to call him Father
Yes.
Chang. No, anyway. But it's like,
that would be hilarious. Imagine going to a Pentecostal Asian church and they're out there shouting, praising Jesus. Like, I can't imagine.
they will be
Yeah,
like,
instead of communion bread, they give out duck skin.
Hold on, how would they catch the Holy Ghost? Would they be like karate kicking each other?
Oh, no,
You know what I'm
the
saying?
Holy Ghost, they look like they're doing kata. Like
yo,
it looked like the dudes that be doing tricking on the martial arts.
first of all, I
Holy Ghost,
hate
they doing
both of you.
capoeira. What's going on?
You brought it up.
But like I would like so going back to the point, like I would sit there and like my mom will always give every week, and when I was younger, there were
get the
times
Holy
the bunny. You know what? If it's in a black neighborhood, it would be like Bruce Leroy when he catches the glow.
Oh shit! Oh man!
Remember in Barry Gordy's Last Dragon?
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
that shit's
When he
dope.
catches the glow and he just starts glistening.
Oh man!
Okay, like what do we as a society, how do you approach a scenario where you feel like there's a whole population of people that are just being forgotten by modern America? Like how do you help them cultivate their culture and bring it back to not necessarily the forefront, but just in line with everything going on so that they can get the same type of notoriety and benefits that like a lot of the cultures get nowadays.
I honestly think, and this is going to sound very insensitive, I think you have to have a personal stake in it. Like, who am I? Like my own people, Dominican people, Latin people, however broad you want to pull back, like the what's it called, the filter.
Yep.
Like the groups that I'm a part of get marginalized every day. So it'd be weird for me to be like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and see what I can do for the Canadian Indigenous people that are marginalized. I think this highlighted that the guy Willie, like people, like even in that email reply when the guy was an asshat and was like, your entire people are the welfare state and like you didn't care about those kids being killed. I think individuals like him are the ones that will bring the truth out, and those are the social justice warriors for each individual group, because they have a personal stake. Like I don't think he ever explained. I think he had relatives that were survivors, but I think it was more about learning about his people that really led him down this path.
Yeah.
And I think it's like then you have the survivors that instead of like being like, oh man, I'm gonna drink myself away, they're like, no, I'm gonna keep talking about this until somebody pays attention, like the investigator.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you noticed, she was in a lot of the video footage from way back when, but she was also the most vocal and the most organized. Like circumstances turn people into superheroes.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? And she was, in my opinion, one of them. Like the fact that she called that guy, like nobody was like, people probably knew what that was. It brother, what was the guy's name?
Brother Dowdy.
Yeah.
Dowdy.
Yeah, people probably knew about him, and they were like, "Oh, this is he's old now." She was like, "Nah, brother." Like
Yeah.
she was trying to.
Chris, what do you what do you think? What do you think would help bring eyes towards like the indigenous culture?
Honestly, numbers. The more people you get that agree with you, that want to go on that ride with you,
Mhm.
is what's going to bring it to light. I mean, I hate to use that cliche, strength in numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's
it's the truth.
just what it is.
I
But
think I have a more far fetched idea.
Mhm.
I think they need a Jeremy Lin. Okay, because before Jeremy, listen, you just
I know he. Oh God.
no,
Okay, go.
listen. Before Jeremy Lin,
a pop culture icon.
yeah, nobody even considered Asians playing basketball, right? But
You
then
had Yao Ming.
but
Yeah, I was about
okay,
to say
yeah,
that.
but
Like,
you don't
what
sit there. Okay, how many conversations go? Oh, Yao. No, but no, they talk about Linsanity. Linsanity took over. Yao Ming, he schooled Shaq a couple of times. Don't nobody really remember that unless you're deep into basketball. But what I'm saying is, with Jeremy Lin, it was a pop culture moment
Mm-hmm.
that brought eyes to Asians playing basketball.
I think it was the
So
timing, but
so
I get what you're saying.
But imagine if there was a Native American basketball player who just started putting up Luca numbers.
There is a couple of Asian American.
No, I said
I'm
Indian
sorry, Native
American.
American.
No, but like
basketball
I'm saying, like who's the Native American superstar? Besides Tatanka.
No.
And was it Tatanka White?
Oh, but I'm just saying, like, there's no one within pop culture besides like the Indian in the cupboard that like it really puts the focus
Another
on.
white kid. You're just
That's like
naming.
that's like 1990.
Yeah, that's a good
What
movie.
are
Good
you
book.
gonna?
But what I'm saying is, that, like, I just
Jonathan Taylor Thomas now.
well,
The
no,
movie with Tim Toolman.
no,
Taylor?
that's jungle. That's jungle to jungle.
Yeah.
Indian in the cupboard is the little kid with the fucking Iroquois Indian.
Yeah.
But no, what I'm saying is like, there's no one that's at the forefront of in pop culture that has a connection to that. Is all I'm saying. And so
That's who was Atreyu.
yeah, so I mean,
He's
say
bigger
if I'm saying if you have someone who's like that, I think it just opens the door for more people to go looking in that direction.
But you know how much work that would be? Not saying it can't be done, because let's just say that this person does it to the NBA, put
Mhm.
some crazy numbers, might win a couple championships, and then after 4 or 5 years, get his money up and doing whatever, then he can get into that documentary style life and do what I want to do,
Yeah.
and then people are gonna stand behind him. But if that was his main goal from day one, that's a whole lot of time and energy and work to get to that point.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
think-
like if you look at indigenous culture in the United States, like again, what's the one thing we associate with it? It's fucking casinos.
Yeah,
Like there's
Yeah.
got to be something else other than fucking casinos.
That and the guy that cries when they burn forest fires.
Now, with the single tier, if you get one tier, that's Native American. More tiers, you just normal. You get one single tier.
It's like we all cry, brother. Like, get out of
oh
here.
man,
I think this documentary is more of. I can't wait until we get a documentary of the quote unquote golden age of America, like just that time period, the time between like the 30s and like the 70s, all the heinous
That's
shit
the
that was
gold.
going.
World War II is the golden age
I
for
was
you.
about to say that. I was about to say
Bro,
that.
hey, if you're listening, and I'm not gonna drop that man's name, if you listen to the current sitting president, that is what he was talking about. That is what considered by many the golden age of economic prosperity. But along with that, a lot of shit was swept under the rug.
No,
There's
that's
a
how
lot
we
of
done
growth.
it.
Lots.
Listen, there was a lot of growth as a nation during that time.
Yeah.
But there was also a fucking giant world war, a recession, a cold war. Like, come on. Like again,
And people were literally driving down the street to start an entire life, and nobody.
Yeah.
What? No.
Chris.
Like,
That's Chris. Chris drove 30 minutes down in Alabama. Said this house, that light, that dog. That's it.
he's like, "What's your name? What's your name? My name is Chris Brown." He used to be Chris Apple. He's just going down the letters.
I know. Oh man.
10 years is gonna be
Coochie.
Chris Chocolate.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
That's
All right,
crazy.
so okay, so I mean, we talked a lot about the actual subject matter of this documentary, but what about the documentary itself, like as a whole? Like, did y'all find it entertaining? Like,
Uh,
did you have a hard time watching it?
I had a hard time focusing in the beginning. In the
Why?
beginning, when they were just giving us a ton of exposition, and they kept just
What?
going to the exposition. You know what I mean?
I just want to see that.
Mother, they kept giving us a ton of information on camera, and they kind of like just dropped us into the story.
Ton of information.
Yeah,
oh
like,
man.
so every time we dealt with that, I always have a thing where I'm just like my mind just starts to wander,
Yeah.
and then like I think they should have led with Ed in the beginning, but they
Mhm.
were focusing more on the young lady that was the investigator that was trying to find. Like I think they let in and they were like, "Yo, we're trying to find more graves," and then they kind of didn't really go back to that again.
Yeah.
Like they did the initial thing, but like I was thinking at the end, they were like, "Yeah," and then we did the survey, and then we found 5,000 more graves. Like they did. I think they, in their way, they wrapped it up with Rick like finding a grave that was obviously already there. It was just overgrown and him cleaning it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like them symbolically saying like, this is all the bones that were buried, that we
Yeah.
kind of forgot about.
How about
But
you,
like,
Chris?
yo, that is a deep, deep trauma that those people won't get over for more
Yeah.
generations.
No,
Chris,
definitely.
what do you think? Was a movie hard for you to watch, or was it,
It wasn't hard to watch, honestly, because there's so much fucking destruction in the world, anyways. Um, the way it was shot was, you know, um, like if it makes sense, nothing flowed.
yeah.
You
I'll
know
agree
what I'm
with that.
saying?
I'll
But
agree with that.
but just knowing the story and just like I said, I feel like there's just more about putting information out there
Yeah.
versus trying to like you said, find a cause and solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
And
think there was a better narrative that could have been established, and then within that narrative, push all the information that you need. Like I think the better narrative was the story between Julian and his dad,
Mm-hmm.
trying to like resurrect that relationship. And in doing that, then you start to learn about what the trauma for his dad was and everything that went into it. And then you find out but I think them trying to focus on the, okay, there's all these graves again behind these uncalled, uncounted graves behind the school. But again, it didn't go any further. You didn't know if there's more graves or whatnot. You didn't know
Mm-hmm.
if the survey or anything actually worked. It's just there's graves back there.
and
Yeah.
and I felt like they were trying to tie Willie to that.
Well,
Like
because
there was
Willie was
time.
he was the one that was he's the chief of that nation right now. So
Yeah.
he's in charge of it. And then they had Justin Trudeau go there and all these different things. But like
Yo,
that,
that report, time out. Justin Trudeau, when that reporter called him on his shit, and he was like, "Well,
well, I wouldn't get here before, but I'm here now, and I'm glad I'm
I'm here
here.
now," and the guy was like, "But why is it today? Today, when the other meeting is happening?" And he straight up like he said the thing that people think,
Yeah.
but don't say. And then he was
Yeah.
like, "Well,
But no,
anyway,
I
I'm
think the
here."
story between Ed and Julian had the opening and closing. Like, at the beginning you learn about, where they are as like father and son. Then you go on the trip, you learn about their history and things like that, what actually fractured them, like between them, the things that went into Ed's trauma. And then at the end you don't kind of really get any closure on Ed's history, but you almost get a sense that Julian like realized like, oh no, my dad's dealing with a lot more than I gave him credit for. Like here I am thinking about my shit, and I'm not realizing my dad's been dealing with a way more in his life than I could ever imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene with his mom, and it sucks that we didn't get to see her because she probably, like she said, she doesn't like talking about it. She probably did not want anything to do with the documentary.
Yeah.
Like that resonated with me because it's like I don't know about you guys, but I know people of my background and people that I grew up with is like sometimes you get in your old head parents to talk about anything that you might they'll be like, you don't need to know anything about that, and this is
Yeah.
like, wait, what do you mean? Like it
Chris, you ever had
affects
that?
me.
Chris, you ever had to like omitting information because one, either you're uncomfortable talking about it, or two, you're like, I already dealt with that. I don't need y'all to deal with that either.
Oh, definitely. I do it all the time. I feel like everybody don't deserve to know who I really am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then, you know, yeah, I'm not going to tell you everything about me because I don't know what you're going to do with it.
Yeah.
You got to really, really prove yourself to be somebody I can trust like that. So it's like, you know, some people are like, yeah, I told the truth. I just didn't tell you everything. Okay, no, yeah, tell you what you need to know. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like for me, it's a matter of like, you know, I've already dealt with it. I'm cool with it. We don't need to bring that shit back up. You don't need to bring it up for what? Like, you don't have to deal with it. I'm the one who had to deal with it, and I'm good with it now. So there's
But
no
see,
sense in bringing it back up just for shits and giggles. Like,
But
why do that?
you know, the counterpoint, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, Ed's reasoning, he wants to know what the hell happened when he was a kid. And
Yeah.
like his mom, it sounds like his mom never really told him, like, yeah, I was the one that abandoned you. It was kind of like she was like, you don't know what you're talking about, or
Yeah.
she kept changing the subject, or like I don't want to talk about this right now. You know what I mean? It's like it was his childhood. I felt like I don't know for you guys, I felt like people again, like my circle of friends when we were growing up, like every time we talked about shit that our parents didn't want to tell us about their lives or our lives that could potentially affect us. Like I remember going to the doctor like at 30 and they were like, do you have a history of this, a history of that? And I was like, I honestly don't know. Because my mom wouldn't like trying to get stuff out of my mom was like a fucking like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like she wouldn't tell me anything. And then when I got to an age that I didn't care, she would just tell me random shit without me asking. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe 20 years ago, if I would have known that your granddad died of a heart disease, that I should have probably like, you know, I don't have any, but it's like, you know, like family medical stuff or like, oh, you know, your granddad is from this or something like, you know what I mean? Stuff that I feel like,
hey, like your great aunt got long dick syndrome. Shit like that. Like, I really want to know. I want to know why I'm attracted to all this.
yeah.
Anyways,
Oh
all right.
my God.
Final thoughts on Sugarland, a documentary on National Geographic. Chris, you go first.
Even though I liked it because of the documentary, it's not something I'd like advertise or recommend. As crazy as it sounds. It was something to watch. I'm not disappointed that I watched it, but this sounds so bad, but nothing to brag about.
Yep. Okay, I'll give you that. What about you, Marcos?
I thought the subject matter was very sad and it piqued my interest about that whole situation. I wish the documentary flowed better, but I'm also happy that there at least is something out there that is not like a newspaper clipping or a blurb on some website. You know, I'll probably have the missus watch it with me. She didn't watch it with me because I saw it in Indiana when I was in the hotel room like the day that I was checking out. So.
Yeah. I'll agree. I think I'm glad this subject matter is out there because I actually think it's a very important one and something that, you know, I think if learning about it will just open up the door for, you know, more investigation into things like that in that culture. I just wish it was a better documentary associated with it. Yeah, again, like it didn't really flow that well, and it was just a lot of. I want to say it was a lot of like mundane moments that didn't really add to the actual story. Like it was just kind of
like here's an example of that. Like you said, mundane moments, and like I wish the editing was better. When Rick was telling the guy that obviously still works for the Vatican what was going on, and they kept cutting to the guy, and the guy's face was like,
yeah.
and like Rick just pouring out his heart, and then this guy was like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. And then the one where he was like, he's sitting there with his jacket on, like, or Julian with his jacket on, just talking on his phone, but it never switches from his back. So it just looks like he's just standing there. And then kind of have like voiceover, like do something that makes it pulls you into the emotion a little bit. Let me see his face while he's talking.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, you know? Yeah. All right. Well, that's the latest episode of Sarat and Chris's Movie Therapy Podcast. Once again, it is your boy Sarat, aka Makazi.
And your boy Chris Brown, aka Red Fort Delta. Get out there.
And your boy Marcos, aka At the Sunset Kid.
All right. Whose movie is it next week?
It is mine.
Ooh, okay. All right. So we
already talked about it.
Yep,
So,
we're gonna get something probably Latino and with smell-o-vision. Who knows? I don't know. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll catch y'all next week.
Man.
Oh God, you gotta hate him.
I'm a warrior.